What's good with my people out there, man? It's your round. Pat Boy Dolo checking in with another episode of the Round the Clock Thinker Show, man. And I got the special guest here with me again. You know, Mr. Sensei Fouché is here in the building. I'm gonna go ahead and let him pop off his intro because I love it so much, and I got my notes here, man. Do your thing, Mr. Sensei.
Well, here I am, your neighborhood Sensei Fouché, and I always begin my shows by first strongly suggesting, because a lot of folks don't like being told what to do true indeed. You know what I'm saying? So, in forward conversation, I more emphatically implore for all of you beautiful, wonderful, self-loving, worthy individuals to stay woke. You know what I'm saying? But in the process, never ever ever get all stressed out. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not healthy at all. You know what I'm saying? You always want to find any moment to take meditative steps and practice procedures of peace, including environmental change if and when necessary. To relax. You know what I'm saying? Because decompression is important. You don't want that volcano to be, boiling over and creating chaos all over the place in your life. You know what I'm saying? And in that process of being in completeness and oneness, always be in awareness and be prepared to take these notes. You know what I'm saying?
Notes, man.
Always be prepared to take notes, because everything's always happening to you, around you, and with you.
Yes, absolutely. For sure, man. Shout out to Sensei. So we here again, y'all. And first I want to go ahead and shout out the Treeway Winterwear Collection, man. You can cop the drill. We also got pack merch on the Teespring link. You just got to hit the official website link. It's down in the description. And look for the Teespring link. You can get some summer drip as well. But me personally, I'm a fall guy. Fall is my jazz. And it's coming fast. You know what I mean? So, also check out the Pretty Much Understanding, man. That's my ebook that I dropped last year around Christmas time. When Christmas time hits this year, that'll be a full year that my first ever book been out, man. I'm starting a paper trail. And I'll be working on repurposing the physical copy soon. But as of now, just go ahead and get the e-booklet, man. It's there for you. Be in your email within 2 minutes for free, all caps. You know what I'm saying? But tonight, today's show, look, it's gonna get deep like the submarine. You know what I'm saying? What is Kundalini or Chi? And how is it developed? Featuring Sensei Fouché right here, man. Before we get out into the Kundalini, I want to ask him where it all started for him, because he's at such a level that is a great inspiration to me and my family, and really when he say take notes, like, you should really do that, seriously. So for you, Sensei, where did it all start, and like at what point did Sensei Fouché say that he had enough of old problems? Like, was it an event? What went down with that, sir?
Well, I guess my first connection to a deeper understanding would have to start when I was in high school, and the curriculum was based around Europe being studied mostly. We would study Europe for maybe however, I can't think of how long you would go through the school years. I think the total school year would cover about 8-9 months, minus breaks.
Right.
But you figured we would spend about 3-4 months on Europe. We'd spend about a month and a half on Asia. We'd spend a lot of time on America. Between America, Europe, we would spend a lot of our studies studying these cultures, and then we would go into Asian culture, South American culture. But when it came to African culture or Africa, the continent of Africa, 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
First week was studying the history of Africa, whatever you would, cover in, the longest existence of human culture known, that we would know of. The base would be in Africa, but for so much vast information, we only spend about a week and a half at that to cover a large amount of history and then have a test in a few days.
Wow.
So, I want to say that, that was a base start for my deeper studies. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in New York City, there was a lot of connections to Islam, the Nation of Islam.
Right.
A faction that derived from the Nation of Islam called the Five Percenters. And of course you had a lot of Christianity and Christians, Christian factions that would speak openly and commonly on street corners, trying to promote their place of worship, in order for you to be inspired to go to and become a part of their congregation.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
But it was all on the street corners with it.
But a lot of the street corners, for me, in late 80s, 90s, New York City, you would have a lot of stands where there were, books. They would sell dashikis and kufis, which is just a Muslim hat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
I think I saw Phil wearing one of those.
All the oils. I wear the body oils and stuff. Like, that's everywhere, and they would have basic books that were alternate to, your common Christian teachings. That was just commonly spoken just in, general interaction. Because the main religion of this country would simply be Christianity. You know what I'm saying? It's like infused into this culture,
right?
As the primary, practice of religion.
Right.
But then from there, I want to say once I got to Atlanta from New York City, then there was a more of an opening of information there, like going basically from a lake into an actual ocean.
So other than Christianity.
That was opening up so much more information in the aspect of Afrocentricity and the deeper information, history, and culture behind Afrocentric understanding.
Okay, and for the people Afrocentric, that would mean basically black culture?
Black culture.
Okay.
And Africa is a center point of where they would say all of this culture branched off from. Okay. There's a lot of different theories or ideologies that have been tossed around. If we was to, in some conversations that I've been in, they would say, how was the Caucasian man created? And they were created in the Caucasus, where the mountain range is over in Europe, which divides Europe from Africa, Asia, if I'm right. The Caucasus Mountains right over there. So, but we're not going to get into all of that. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation.
No doubt. So, real quick question about the Afrocentric and the black culture. When they speak about black magic, is that specifically a black magic? Like I heard, it wasn't Phil, it was Bobby. He mentioned that. Is that factual?
I want to say when and Bobby Hemmett was a strong mentor of mine that I studied,
right? That
I shared with you as well as Phil Valentine.
Shout out to Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine.
The way I understand that now, in my further studies post that, it's a belief, it's a spark, it's a feeling within a people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I want to say during specific oppressive moments, it was itemized and being labeled.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that magic is, to me, just coming from a darkness, a place of darkness, into a spark of light.
Damn. Wow. So yeah, you was in the A, you ran into the Afrocentric information and then went into the ocean. What happened from there?
Just a lot of information, but not practice, because my ego was learning these things to, prove to people how smart I am. You know what I'm saying? To state that at that time.
Right.
Because
Feel that.
being oppressed a lot growing up in the culture that I know I grew up in, you would be frowned upon or looked down upon by certain other cultures, of entitlement, you know what I'm saying? And to kind of fit in and be above water, that's how I believed I had to be, was to prove, how smart I was from an information standpoint, you know what I'm saying? But the practice of it, wasn't really high level, so it was honestly most hypocritical. You know what I'm saying? And then if you talk about that breaking point, which I guess you mentioned initially in your question,
Yes, sir.
there comes a moment when, unfortunately, you have to be stripped of all of everything related to what blew your ego up to that degree of helium, where that helium blew that balloon up to such a degree to beyond what it was able to hold. You know what I'm saying? Because that balloon has a limit of capacity. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of burst, and then when that burst, that's when, and I hope that is a comfortable enough analogy, but for me it was just I lost everything, just in simple conversation. Everything that was important to me, I wound up losing because of my ego. You know what I'm saying? The balloon popped, and everything was gone, and to start from scratch was a mirror check.
You had to really look at yourself with honesty.
Now, fortunately, topics like we talking about today,
Yes, sir.
being in awareness of this information, since we're going to go all the way back until, let's say, 1990, 91, because that's pretty much when I was in high school, when I was telling you that story about, the awareness of studying different cultures.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, once I got to once I lost everything, and having this deeper understanding, I was able to understand more what these things represented and get more honest into me being accountable for the end comings.
Wow.
And then that's when that illumination started to radiate and grow.
And you were still in Atlanta when that first started?
No, I had to move out here. Like, I took a bus trip,
so
desolate, broke, a suitcase, and a duffel bag.
Average reader reads 200 words per minute. In work, the more you know.
The suitcase and the duffel bag was my possessions coming out to the Midwest in South Dakota.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It was just starting from scratch, sleeping in an unfinished house. No bathroom, you know what I'm saying? Just a place to lay your head, and a bunch of rocks, you know what I'm saying? Getting into geography a lot more, the genealogy, the study of, I can't think of the specific name of what we would label studying rocks, you know what I'm saying? But I started studying that in Atlanta, you know, with quartz crystals.
Wow.
Just having, you know, more, because, you know, quartz is supposed to represent a state of peace, or, you know, a connection to enlightenment, you know what I'm saying? And it's just a loose article that is available on the East Coast, but there's such a larger degree of minerals and rocks that have been labeled with specific titles in connection to spiritual opening or awareness.
Right. And this is something that you found that really worked for you.
Yeah, it was a great tool to assist into the practice of applying the things that I so-called said that I learned or knew.
Right.
You know what
So
I'm saying?
you would stand against them calling it New Age, because they put a label on all that. You know how we burn the sage and we have the rocks. And
Yes.
they call it new, quote unquote, New Age. Is that an attempt to push you in a certain direction?
They're trying to make it seem as if, and this is just my opinion, you know what I'm saying? My opinion is that they would state something like that to detract you from something that was before what they have going on now. Because if you connect to something deeper than what's going on now, you know what I'm saying, then whoever's in control of the information and how it's related to going on now, they're gonna lose everything they have.
Right.
They're gonna lose all of their power of that manipulative information.
Right. Because
Or limited information, because it's not in full truth by mislabeling it or trying to relabel it like it's brand new. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, I see. Wow, that's deep. So when you was like sleeping in the crib that was half made up, you was studying. You was starting to really study and get into these different things that was working for you, and you started coming out of where you was like closed in. You started coming out of it.
It was a humbling, you know, that's the main thing, was that it was a humbling. And then from that humbling, I wanted to personally hold in closest connection and remembrance with things that was going to help heal me
Right.
mentally.
Yeah.
So being at first, as far as a city in this environment or this region, I was out in Keystone, you know what I'm saying, where Mount Rushmore's at.
Right.
You know, for all you folks out there, everybody knows Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore is maybe about 20 or so miles from where we're at right now.
Right. Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, in Atlanta, I started studying through the scholars Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine about, you know, crystals. And they would use crystals in opening prayer or rituals in order to open their conversations. So that's how I got into the understanding of base crystals. But then once I came out here to this region, and those shops are highly available in, you know, those more rural sections in this region. You know what I'm saying? So when I go inside of these stores, I'm like, oh, some of these, you know, different minerals and rocks that I was kind of reading about or was mentioned in these conversations I was following through those scholars, like these are out here. You know what I'm saying? So then I started trying to study more of the rocks and crystals, because then I bought what they call the Crystal Bible. It actually says the Crystal Bible on it.
Wow.
And it's just kind of like an encyclopedia of all the different rocks and crystals in existence in the world.
Wow.
Where the origins come from, where they're highly available, and what are the spiritual principles that was labeled to these different objects of minerals and rocks.
Wow.
So I started studying the things that, or relating or collecting the ones that I felt I needed to embody more, that were weaknesses of mine. Because I had to check myself and basically have a mental projection or list in reality of my strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever my weaknesses were, that's what I wanted to work on.
Yeah.
So I started buying crystals related to my weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
They say I'm a strong orator these days. I bought crystals relating to speech and being stronger in communication, because I felt like I was so weak in the art of conversation and being in comfortableness in communication.
Right. And now I'm this look, this me said is now he's a master, all right? He's a master. You gotta be on the phone when he going through his day. You gotta be on the phone with him to know what I'm saying. Or you gotta go to one of these restaurants where he regular and ask them and they'll tell you. But go ahead, Sensei.
Yeah, so that's and that was a part of being egoless and being real.
Yeah.
Because what I'm saying, everybody's gonna be like, oh well, this is my strength, and you'll brag about all your strengths and what makes you so great. But what makes you not so great? You know what I'm saying? Because that's where that growth is really gonna come from, and that's what with all these folks out here talking about real, and I'm starting to get a little excited in this conversation.
Let's go.
Because I be hearing all these folks talking about keeping it real. You ain't really keeping it real. You ain't nothing but a con man. You ain't nothing but a liar. And I don't mean to offend anybody. No, a matter of fact, I do. You know what I'm saying? For those who it really relates to. You know what I'm saying? Because being a hypocrite makes you most of a fool, more than someone who don't know. You know what I'm saying? Babes, young ones, the inexperienced.
Yeah.
But my thing for me was, egoless. So, what are your weaknesses? And be real about that and admit them and work on them.
Tap into them, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did, was work on all of those things that was wrong with me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I could always, continue to be in practice of what's right.
Yeah.
But, to be of the highest level and connected to that, you know what I'm saying? You need to be honest in what's wrong with you and build on that.
Thanks. Was it easy?
Nah, to tell the truth about yourself, like, that's the hardest thing to do. Like, look yourself in the mirror in your own eyes, because you can't do that, you know what I'm saying, just standing in your own room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go into your bathroom and see how long you could stare yourself in the mirror and think about your life. Because that's what I did, and I broke down and I cried. Because I knew that I was a failure, I was a hypocrite, and I was a fool, and I was a liar. You know what I'm saying? And once I told myself all of that, in our last conversation and ending that recording, I was telling everybody, tell yourself it's okay.
Right.
Because then once you in those tears of honesty, you need to, now that you in truth, now you have to give yourself a hug.
Yeah.
And forgive yourself and be committed into moving forward.
Yeah.
In all honest footsteps, you know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Wow. So you got into the crystals and then rolled into just the vet, even more information, like once, because I know it got to a point where the crystals like, okay, you got it, this worked for me, okay, what else? Because you had a program of progression at that point, so what was your next move?
Well, the thing I wanted to honor more than anything was my commitment as a father. You know what I'm saying? Because because of my choices, I was a deadbeat. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's 1,000 miles away, and I'm over here trying to rebuild my mind you know, more than my life, you know what I'm saying, my physical life as far as residency, you know what I'm saying, because without the mind there is no body.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
yeah, I just the next reality check was when my daughter came out here and her mom passed.
Yeah.
You know, after they were out here a year, you know, she had a brain stroke, you know, brain aneurysm, and you know, then it was all on me as far as being, you know, the primary guardian, caretaker, provider, you know, educator, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's something I thought of, you know, way before I was actually a parent. Like, what kind of parent would I want to be? What kind of parent could I be? What kind of parent do I have to be? You know, and then once, you know, everything was laid out in front of me, then, you know, and for any man, you know, how many men would step up and take care of their kids? You know what I'm saying? I mean, forget about the mom passing away. The mom is still alive, and you don't still take care of your kids.
Right. Thanks.
You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
And if the other parent was to pass away, would you do it or would you pass it on to another family member?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So then the challenges of being a parent and a guide, that was because now it's like reliving life all over again. You know what I'm saying? But now you being a guide, and what kind of guide are you gonna be within their mistakes?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In their footsteps.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna be an authoritarian, or are you gonna be a guardian and a guide? Because there's a difference between those two words.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna be a dictator, or are you gonna be, you know, someone that's like a sage?
Yeah. Thanks. So you had to step into like you had to fill that role, but you was prepared to do it at that point because you had did the work, you had did the internal work, and you was ready to lock in.
I think for me, in the respect of being the parent, like I already knew before mom passed, and I had to leave Atlanta because I messed up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But before that, and we broke up, like we were fighting about custody. And I was saying I wanted custody of my daughter, but it was more about an ego thing because of a possession. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I related now. At the time, I could talk love all I want, but I looked, realistically, it was more about a possession thing. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So yeah, man, that's deep. I know a lot of people that can relate to that. Shout out to Miss Serenity, man. That's his daughter's name. Shout out to Serenity. When you got into that mode, right, and you like had this full view of everything, because I know you still working, still studying, you still doing that today. Like you said, no days off. You don't take no days off.
I promise y'all, I look, I could be walking into a busy restaurant and I'm studying the environment. I'm studying how the employees are moving. I'm studying their face reactions. I'm studying the customers and their reactions. Are they frustrated? Like I'm looking at their body language. Do they seem comfortable? Do they seem at ease in the environment? I'm listening to the music that's playing in the background. Is there any music? What type of music is it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What kind of energy is moving off of the vibrations that are being transmitted?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm always studying. If I'm at home, like whatever I'm watching, I could be watching something like Law and Order.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm listening to conversation, the things that they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Because understanding words, and they use a lot of bigger terms in legal conversations. You know what I'm saying? But when you are in connection with language and words, then you're able to dissect these conversations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to Donald Trump today, our POTUS, the president.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm dissecting what he's talking about because I'm like, do you understand what you're saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I could be having a conversation with my daughter about something extremely pertinent and serious to, you know, her connection to life and thought processing. And I am itemizing through her conversation while she's speaking, listening to specific key words and how she's using them and to the tone of how she's using them.
Wow. So it never turns off.
It never turns off, man.
Yes,
It's a new addiction. Instead of alcohol, cocaine, and all that nonsense and craziness, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm addicted to absorbing and understanding life, to dissecting. You know what I'm saying? And itemization. You know, things that are important to cultivation.
Man, see, that's that's deep. That's a good addiction too.
Oh yeah, man. Oh man, look, I don't have to worry about hangovers in the morning. I ain't got to worry about being broke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even really think about money or being provided for because I know that is going to happen because my professionalism and my understanding of business is so high level that I shouldn't even have trouble understanding how to earn income or be consistent in some form of earning income and being within an environment as uncomfortable as it may be, you know, being able to maintain within that environment in order for a specific importance.
Right. Deep, man. Deep. So, out of everything that you've studied and still studying, right, is there a common truth that stuck out repetitively over and over during this process? Like something that just was so simple and just was like right there consistently just kept sticking out over and over. You was like, yo, that's it. Like,
I want to just simply say discipline. I'm glad you asked. I had to think about it for a quick minute because before coming into your home and you know, thinking about having this conversation today, that word primarily stuck out.
discipline. And you have to use that in all aspects.
Once I understood discipline, then I understood pace and control.
Right.
Because discipline is just control is a definition of what discipline is.
What about pace?
Pace for me is dealing with pulse and peace.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could be highly anxious and that's a pace.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the discipline is what decompresses that high anxiety and keeps your pulse at a peaceful pace.
Right. So that's why you say you don't have bad days. You just have, you know, unpleasant moments.
Man, look, I had a lot of bad days that I mean, the way I labeled it back from New York to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And in reality, in a higher level of thinking, it's like you just chose to take a moment and grow that and have it spread in other directions.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, for me, a moment is a moment. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna happen. You know, it's unavoidable. Unavoidable. You don't know when it's gonna happen, but when it does happen, how are you gonna deal with it?
Right. Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you hold on to that, you know, I call it the volcano effect, because that lava, the more that you hold on to it, it starts to build until you can't no longer hold that water anymore. That I was thinking of volcanic, but the temperature, that high temperature, because volcanic or lava is just high temperature liquid. You know what I'm saying? So that high temperature boils over and then causes destruction outside of what's within. Right? That's how a volcano works.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then it creates residual damage, right? Because it's not just in that immediate area, but it spreads.
Yeah. Wow. Man, hope you catch that metaphor, y'all.
And take
like
it, keep it, hold on to it, because it's one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying?
Take notes. You know what I'm saying?
Take those notes, because that's how I used to personally identify it, knowing that, you know what I'm saying, I was a loose cannon. You know what I'm saying? Back east, I didn't have any control. Yeah. And that's what led into all those bad addictions, those unhealthy addictions.
Right. Man,
you know what I'm saying?
I know it all too well. Yes, sir. So we rolling into chapter 2. Going deeper into the waters. Submarine activated. So, question. What is Kundalini?
Well, I have my notes right here, and I want it to be in most specification. So I'm going to do a little bit of light reading right quick. It's a term derived from the religion of Hinduism, right? And the same term chi is, within Asian culture. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Kundalini is a form of divine feminine energy believed to be located at the base of the spine. That's how it is written in definition. You know what I'm saying? So Kundalini is a form of process. You know what I'm saying? That's how I would label it. Because I'm gonna go further for a minute, because when we talk about this feminine energy, because I know I mentioned the word feminine, and we have men and women, masculine energy, feminine energy, and this world, this physical world is based off of a masculine energy, an energy of ego, an energy of war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The feminine energy is supposed to be a nurturing energy, an alternative to the very I don't want to say chaotic or volcanic in a negative tone, but we'll use the term extroverted, because we could talk positive, negative, introverted, extroverted. Yeah. Extroverted energy, you know what I'm saying? And that's a masculine energy.
Right.
It's an energy of force, you know what I'm saying? Then the counterpart is the peace. The feminine energy, the nurturing energy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The yin and the yang.
Right.
Going back into, Asian culture.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing.
Right.
Kundalini is just a step. It's a step-by-step process into oneness or completeness with peace or divinity. Having a highest of divinity or peace.
So, rolling off of that, you already basically answered that question about Hinduism being basically the originator of the specific term Kundalini.
Yeah, and the reason why I like the term Kundalini, and I know, we working on something with that specific title reference.
Yeah.
And, I like things that have a high level of connection to that discipline. We use that word discipline.
Right.
And I like to connect to things that have a more connected truth to discipline. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I really like the term Kundalini. Yeah. American culture is really not as disciplined religiously or spiritually as other cultures. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I personally connect to the word Kundalini. It sounds very inspiring. It sounds more high level. It sounds kind of fancy.
It really does.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
Being that it's also connected to something more in tune with with discipline, I really connect to that word.
Word. And me too now. Me too now. And you know why, but we ain't even gonna put them on that just yet. They'll hear it when they hear it. So I read something in your notes and I had a question. The difference, and of course you could preface it and like explain the specific deity first before we roll into the actual question. But the question I had was, what's the difference between principal deities and gods?
Well, to me it's just a culture
Okay.
and a time period, you know, because you just replace deities for the word God.
God. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But we in a monotheistic application of God understanding more than a polytheistic understanding of God's plural.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Which goes into that ego thing of this monotheistic system of, you know, understanding gods or one God, you know, and all other gods beneath that one God.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But deities in plural, there's specific applications or labels connected to these deities. You know, you have a God of wisdom, you have a God of love, you have a God of, you know, of different things. God of the sea, the God of air, the wind. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
You know, so those would be, and ain't more like when you're dealing with Egyptian terms, they're going to use the term deity more than God. If you go more into ancient text or terminology, the word deity is specifically labeled a whole lot more.
Okay.
And in today's day, because of the way that we use language, you know, we're more in connection with God.
Right. Okay.
Or God's plural. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
So it was just basically the transfer of terminology from history to present, from yesterday's to today.
Yeah, it's just a language thing, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
How it's just kind of translated or, you know, understood in a transition from prior culture into, you know, current culture.
Okay. And was it a specific deity or god that represented something within this Kundalini that made the connection?
Well, we're going to talk about, let's connect it, well, first.
Okay, I'm gonna follow you.
Trimurti.
Yes. What is
T-R-I-M-U-R-T-I.
Right.
And Trimurti is the Trinity. If you see the beginning of the word tri, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times you could kind of loosely break down terminology or words or definitions by understanding roots. So when we look at the tri, that deals with the Trinity. When you deal in Christianity with the Trinity, we talk about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let me go into my notes specifically over here on my last page, because, you know, when we talk about God the Father, then God the Son, who's Jesus Christ, and then God the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost, which is the Trinity.
Right.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
Right? In Trimurti, the triple deity, which is first the God of creation, you know what I'm saying? Then the God of preservation, and then the God of destruction. And then it just cycles back over into a new beginning.
Okay.
Genesis. From Genesis to Revelation to a new Genesis.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So then if we go back on my notes, you know what I'm saying? Take those notes.
Take the notes. You see me over here.
But then when going to the Trinity, we have Shiva in Hinduism. And Shiva is the auspicious one, or the male god, the supreme being. You know what I'm saying? Shiva is known as the destroyer. You know what I'm saying? No different than God in the Christian Bible. You know what I'm saying? He's the provider of life and the taker away of life. You know what I'm saying? So Shiva, the auspicious one, is the god of destruction. Brahma is the creator, because in the Hindu religion, you have Brahma, Brahma, is a Hindu god referred to as the creator within the Trimurti. Then you have Vishnu, Vishnu, referred to as the pervasive, the all-pervasive, the preserver of life. You know what I'm saying? The Son, Jesus Christ, gave his life in order for you to have life.
Right. Like Vishnu. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes,
Vishnu?
Vishnu. And then, of course, like I said, Shiva, which is, the god of above the other two, which is the destroyer, the one above the other two, but it's a trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Which again, going back into my notes to be most specific, is the god of creation, the god of preservation, and the god of destruction. So again, in connection with Christianity, you have the God the Father, God the Son, Jesus Christ, who gave his life for your sins, and God the Holy Spirit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is, the God of oneness, you know what I'm saying? But then the cycle of the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost is the same thing with the Trimurti.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's the tree.
It's the trinity of the creation, the preservation, and the destruction.
Right. Okay. Wow. And that ties into the chakras. So
when we talk about the chakras are the stages. So
Okay.
now we're going to get into that. Let's talk
Okay.
about some chakras.
Let's get
Can I
let's
begin?
get it. Yes, sir. We are there.
Because I have my notes, as you see. So the chakras can be between 3 and 6. 3 and 6 is a variation depending on culture. So in the Hinduism, you have a total of 7. Because you have your six lower chakras, and then you have your highest chakra of connection or peace or divinity. So your lower chakra is going to be, or the chakra, my fault. Your lowest chakra is going to be, and I'm just going to use generic terms because you have your base chakra, which is your lowest level. Your base chakra, your lowest form of being.
Right.
Then you move into your genital area, as far as your neck chakra. The way that I would connect that to is your impulses in pleasure, with sex.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In relationships, in personal relationships. Your neck chakra above that is in your navel section, your stomach area. So to me, that deals with, diet. You know what I'm saying? What you eat. How you practice your diet. Your ingestion, your food ingestion, your liquid ingestion. Your next chakra above that is your heart chakra. To me, that relates to how you deal with not only yourself, but also others. Being universal in connection with others. Being able to be, what was the word? Being in unison with the multitudes of others or people. Your chakra above that is your throat chakra. How you communicate. How you communicate not only within yourself, to yourself, but how you communicate with others. You know what I'm saying? Are you a weak communicator or a strong communicator? So then there's levels to this thing. So we go from your genitals to your navel, to your heart, to your throat, up into how you think. That's your sixth chakra, which is your forehead. And your forehead is your thoughts and how you relate, to the world. Are you, overly frustrated, or are you desperate, to use that loose reference, to peace? Once you conquer your thoughts and how you think, then you should be at that state of your highest chakra or your top divinity.
And that's the seventh chakra.
And that's your seventh chakra.
What's it labeled?
Sahasrahara. Let me spell it. My fault. Sahasrara. So Sahasrara.
I like how that sounds.
Now let me define it, because I have a typed definition. The Sahasrara is the highest spiritual center, pure consciousness, containing neither object nor subject. When the feminine Kundalini Shakti rises to the point, it unites with the masculine Shiva, giving self-realization and samadhi. In esoteric Buddhism, it is called Mahasukha, the petal lotus of great bliss, corresponding to the fourth state of Four Noble Truths.
That's a beautiful definition. Wow. And that tells you right there what Kundalini is. Wow. So once Kundalini is activated, once all these chakras are, aligned, and once it's activated, how will it have an effect on your everyday life?
Man, let me tell you, and I'm going to close this book, because I don't even need it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you are in true oneness with yourself and how you are going to relate to the world, it's not that the world is not what the world is, you know what I'm saying? But how you deal with the chaos, you become more of a master. You know what I'm saying? You become way less personally frustrated to where you take that with you, to where that energy consumes you. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because in your interactions, it's easy to be consumed by someone else's negative energy.
Right.
Once you become in a high state of divinity, it's almost like having an antidote. You know what I'm saying? When you bitten by some poisonous venom, or some poison, some type of poison, right, is ingested for whatever within your system, it's like an always available antidote.
Wow.
Like, that's how serious it is, man. And I used to be highly frustrated, highly stressed, man. I'm cursing people out. I'm ready to snap. I'm daring for there to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? But now, there's no need for there to be a problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not for me to engage in it to the greater of degree.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can leave that where that be at, because, you know what I'm saying, the weak recognize greatness, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some are jealous of it and some honor it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Doubt.
And if you are extremely humble, you will not resonate in being for that type of person to be strongly resistant or resentful to you. You know, as far as expressing a strong form of resentment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you're going to be able to humbly, keep yourself smooth and camouflage through the situation. I know I was sharing this example with you the other day.
Yeah.
And just speaking light in politics, and this platform isn't specifically for politics, but in a sense to show an application of this peace process. I walked into the Hardys with a whole group of MAGA followers, the Make America Great Again followers of Donald Trump. And those are very highly aggressive individuals as far as their belief.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And being in that environment can be challenging because they're extremely frustrated. They're extremely frustrated individuals, truthfully. You know what I'm saying? And I was listening to the POTUS say that today in his speech. You know what I'm saying? But in that type of environment, then I already know what it is, and I'm like, I don't have to engage or even strongly share opinion into this environment because I know what it's about, and you know, I don't think of it as selling out. You know what I'm saying? Because there's moments of choice. You know what I'm saying? And then I figure, what's the greatest purpose? Because it's not a detriment to my survival in that immediate moment. You know what I'm saying? To where these folks are going to attack me and maybe stringing me up on a noose on the nearest tree.
Right.
I didn't anticipate that happening at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if that was a possibility of a situation, then I wouldn't have even made it my point to interact into that moment.
Yeah.
You know, or creating it by accepting that assignment. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So,
No doubt.
yeah, it's easy to say, okay, I understand what this is, and I am going to move within it, but I don't have to highly engage within it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could just kind of, you know,
Camouflage in there,
blend in and blend out. You know what I'm saying? Iggity, like Quagmire and what is it? Family Guy, Iggity. You know what I'm saying? He be in and out. You know, he's like a 2-minute brother. You know what I'm saying? To any of y'all comedic people out there that like comedy, in and out, Iggity, 2-minute brother.
100, man. So we're about to wrap it up. We winding down. Anything that you want to share lastly with the people? Obviously, they know that Kundalini and just becoming one with enlightenment and one with yourself is very powerful and important. And you just, like I always tell you, run it back, take the notes, run it back. Repetition is key. Anything you want to lastly share with them?
Well, we shared some specific levels of processes, and this is just a blueprint, you know what I'm saying? And you design your personal blueprint off of this loose blueprint.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go back to when I was referencing strengths and weaknesses. Be honest about your weaknesses, because I mean, we all are confident about our strengths.
Yeah.
But you need to be honest about your weaknesses and create steps of improvement.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because Rome, the old analogy or statement is Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I'm saying? And no one's expecting you to change overnight.
Right.
But, you know, the witnessing of a process is admired and honored and will be respected. Because if you're not honoring and being truthful in that process, you know what I'm saying, there's going to be, I mean, people are going to call you out and you're going to be frustrated in the truth because of the transparency in your movements.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But what you need to do is be honest into, you know, your faults, your weaknesses, and build a ladder of improvement and be assertive in those steps. You know what I'm saying? Be committed within every step. You know what I'm saying? Don't jump around from this step to that step. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you're going to turn yourself into a damn Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
And then all the colors are going to be off. And then how long does it take to put a Rubik's Cube back into, you know, its proper compliance?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for some people, never, because they give up.
True.
You know, after a few minutes, they're so frustrated because they're so weak mentally in their discipline that they just throw it on the ground, throw it in the garbage, give it away, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they done with it. Their life is always functioned around frustration and not completing important tasks and understanding levels. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than the school system. In the school system, it's a level. You have to go through the processes to complete, you know, each level.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, curriculums within each stage in order to increase to the next level.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah. I heard you mention it in your
Right?
show.
For all you school kids, and trust me, because for whatever amount of years, I was a failure. You know what I'm saying? My teacher told me in the middle of high school that I wasn't going to graduate on time and I was going to be left back. You know what I'm saying? And I really applied myself into not looking like an idiot, because I knew that I had basic common sense to go through the grade levels of schools. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to be ridiculed by my peers by, you know, staying behind while they all walking in cap and gown.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then I got to spend another year with folks that I was making fun of because they was younger than me. But you know, now I'm graded up with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Left back. How's that sound? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Living your life left back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that you have to be very assertive in those stages and be persistent and assertive within the process of those stages. And if you are persistent in your process, then you're going to have pace and be able to embody patience. But you have to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to cram, you know, whatever amount of information or try to stress yourself so fast. Just be consistent into a daily application and have a schedule to it.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And don't even think about the end of the line. Just continue to think about the step right ahead of you.
In the now.
In the now.
Right. Wow. Man, this was dope. Shout out your platform, man, so they can go.
Mr. Sensei Fouché, stay woke at Sensei Fouché. And matter of fact, I do have my lyric or vocal album that is out right now. It's called Patient XY1973 330311, and it is just in reference to the project is based in reference to the process of going from a high level of identification with pain and moving towards footsteps of in a direction of peace. You know what I'm saying? And this is gonna work into a trilogy, but right now, you know, the first LP is out right now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very proud of this project, and you know, I relate it to mental health because it's a loose reference, and a lot of not only my personal experiences, but the experiences around me fit into a story form into the creation within this album. You know what I'm saying? And this is, to me, stuff that anyone goes through. Relationship issues, you know, issues with confidence within yourself, you know, how you deal with the outside world and other people, you know what I'm saying? Family, you know what I'm saying? You know, footsteps or failures, you know, how do you deal with failure? You know what I'm saying? When you down and out, you know, the process that you go through when you at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And being honest in those processes, because, you know, a lot of us have bottomed out. You know what I'm saying? And we still, you know, treading water at the bottom of the well, or the bottom of, you know what I'm saying, underneath the water.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to end on, is just letting you all know to be honest about your weaknesses or your faults, and being disciplined and assertive into your personal processes, and being honest in your commitments towards that process and those steps into, you know, being in peace, in divinity. You know what I'm saying? In control of your life, of your thoughts, of your feelings, of your actions.
Yeah, no doubt. In control. control, pace.
Pace.
I like that word, pace. Man, it's your round, Pac Bordolo and Mr. Sensei Fouché checking out, man. Make sure y'all check out his channel and you know to hit the subscribe on Round the Clock Thinkers, man, if you're new here.